Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to GRE Preparation Made Easy Quantitative Reasoning class by Mrs. Annapurna Murugan. Few instructions for the participants. Make sure you have a stable internet connection and a noise-free environment. We recommend you to use a earphone for best experience. Also, respect your instructor, classmates, and yourself. Don't write anything inappropriate on the chat box. We have 3 packages: bronze, silver, and gold. If you break to silver and gold, you'll get extra benefits like evaluated mock tests and expert university recommendations and so on. We also have free profile evaluation with our experts, comprehensive evaluation, university shortlisting, course recommendation, and doubt clearance. We have free IELTS classes, that is from Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. It is a 4-week course, and free Duolingo classes Monday to Friday, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. It is a 2-week course. We have this virtual education loan fair this Saturday, that is 4th November, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. You will get benefits like personalized loan assessment, instant loan offer, discounted processing fees, cashback incentives, and so on. You may register for free. We have the special offer of gold packets starting from rupees 499 with extra benefits. You can contact us for further details. Here are few achievements. This is the Ubergrad website. You can select the country, course, and specialization. When you go and explore, you can select the countries, universe. Just a second. When you go and explore, you can select the countries, universities, courses, and exams to get all the information. When you go on solutions, we have free profile evaluation, talk to the counselor, country recommendations, test preparation stores, additional services. Also, weekly blogs are uploaded. You may go through them. To contact us, you can call us, WhatsApp us, or mail us. When you go on my test preparation here and click on GRE view course, you get the handouts and recordings. I'll be sharing the link on the chat box. So yeah. Also, in case of any other query, you may ask at the end of the session. Thank you.
Hi guys. Good evening. I hope everyone is doing good. Good evening, Aditi. Yes, we'll quickly start off with the session. Today I'm going to conduct ratio, proportion, variation, and if we are left with time, then we'll be conducting on percentages as well. Okay. And let me share the screen for you guys. Okay, here we go. I'm sharing the screen. Yes. So I guess everyone could see the screen. Just give me 1 second. I'll log on through my other device, so that I can just have a check over the thing. Just give me 1 second. GUQ. Just 1 second. Just 1 second. It's okay. Yeah, here we go. Now I can check your answers also if you sit there. Okay, so I'm sharing the screen here. Yes. So today we are going to speak about ratio, proportion. So ratio means everyone know what it is. Basically, when we try to refer one commodity with regards to another commodity with some common measurement, so then that we can call that as ratio. Okay. For example, so if we say we need to, if we are making this one, what is that? If you're baking a cake, we need to have flour, sugar, this one, egg and butter in the ratio. 2 is to 1 is to 1 is to 1, something like this we say. That means that measurement, whatever we are doing, that quantity should be, that reference quantity should be same. So if this two quantities of flour, so one quantity of sugar, one quantity of butter, one quantity of this one, so that is our ratio. That means when we are comparing or when we are setting up the relation of one quantity that bears to the another quantity of same kind, same nature, so then we can refer to as ratios here. Okay, so one thing that we need to keep in mind, ratios will be compared on the quantities. When you are comparing, should be of same kind. And also like what is that, but it can vary, but the reference quantity should be same here. Usually this one ratio is given in the form of A is to B. What do we call A as? Any idea what do we call A as? Antecedent. What do we call B as? B is considered as consequent. Okay. So A is called as antecedent, B is called as consequent. So why we need to know this? Okay. So now you may be thinking why we need to know the definitions or not. So in exam, in GRE exam, they end up giving you with terminologies. When they say the antecedent of the ratio is this, so find the consequent. At that time, what you will be doing? So you will be basically, what does that, get confused if you don't know what it is? So then it will be difficult for you guys to this one. So hence, so terminologies plays crucial role and you people need to remember them. That is very, very important. So therefore, we can say usually the ratio is given in the form of, or this is the face of the ratio we basically have. Now, not just knowing the ratio, here you need to know greater ratio, lesser ratio, and equal ratio. Okay. So now, what are this greater ratio, equal ratio, lesser ratio? When you can identify this, so depending upon the antecedent and consequent relation, you people can identify whether the given ratio is of greater ratio, lesser ratio, or equal ratio. And this is nowhere comparison between two ratios. Remember that we are not comparing the two ratios, rather what we are doing here, so we are basically defining so that particular ratio depending upon the nature. So remember one thing. So when we can say like P is to Q is one ratio. So when I can say this P is to Q is of greater ratio, if the decimal form of this so is greater than 1. That means if you further divide them or if you convert them into the this one decimal form, so if the value is greater than 1, then we call that as what? Greater ratio. So P is to Q when it will be called as lesser ratio when it is less than 1. Okay, when the conversion, when the transformation of this ratio is giving us less than 1, so then we can say it as what is that? Lesser ratio. And when it is called as equal ratio, so when we see that P is to Q, so gives rise to 1. But when all these things can happen, P is to Q is said to be of greater ratio if antecedent is greater than consequent. Remember this. When the greater ratio appears, if the antecedent is greater than consequent, we can call that as greater ratio. That means what? So P should be greater than Q. For example, I'll take 5 is to 4. So 5 is to 4 will be what? 1.2 something we are getting here. Don't you think it is greater than 1.2? Greater than 1, isn't it? Hence, it is called as greater ratio. Now, what is this lesser ratio? If antecedent is less than consequent. Okay, what is happening? If antecedent is less than consequent, then we can say it as lesser ratio. So in this case, what happens? P is less than Q. Let me take the same example. 4 if it is less than 5. That means if I take P is equals to 4 and Q is equals to 5. That is 4 by 5, what we are going to get? 0.8. See, lesser ratio. You take any numbers, guys, for that case. It's not that because I'm using this thing, don't think that we are okay, only giving you the examples where these conditions are followed. No, you people take any of these things. Okay. So any examples where numerator or antecedent is less than the this one, what is that, consequent, you will see that you always get something less than 1 only. So in the same case, so if the antecedent is greater than consequent, then obviously what happens, you will be getting so the value greater than 1. And then here you can see that when this equal ratio will be there, when P is equals to Q. That means, so when both the elements, when antecedent and consequent is equal, so then the ratio is said to be what? Equal ratio. That means what? So when so 4 is to 4, that is 4 by 4, the equal ratio it is 1. Yeah, got this, guys? I hope everyone understood about this. Okay, so then let us quickly go on to the next concept. So based on the ratio behavior, okay, so ratios behavior, we have few things that we need to understand. Okay, based on the ratios behavior, let us try to understand the things. For example, what we think, so we think that if something is added to the ratio, so whether the what is that, the ratio remains same or not. So that I want you people to understand here. See, A is to B is the ratio that we have. So if A is to B is the ratio, if we are taking the first condition, what is that? If A is greater than B, that means I'm talking about A is greater than B, means if I'm considering a greater ratio, the addition of some common element, A plus X, so plus B plus X. What happens in this case? A plus X, so then B plus X. For example, so 4 is to this one. What is that? A is greater than B. Now I'll take 5 is to 4. Now what is the ratio that we have got? 5 is to 4 is 1 point. So 2 we get. Okay, approximately. Now I'll add some common element. So 5 plus 2 and 4 plus 2. Common element I'm adding to both. What we are going to get? 7 by 6. So what you are going to get here? 6 and 7. 6 ones are 6. So 4 or 3 remain. Sorry, 1 remainder. Point 0. Again 6 1. So sorry, 6 and then 4 remainder. So basically you are getting what? The ratio 1.1. Even though it is maintaining the greater ratio, but to the original ratio, so if something common is added, so this ratio decreases. What happens? I can say that A plus X is to B plus X is less than A is to B. The overall ratio, if you take this ratio, even though it will be of greater ratio, but still you see that the ratio tends to decrease. That means, so from this you need to understand that as for the greater ratio, if you start adding common element to antecedent and this one consequent, the overall ratios start decreasing. What happens here? The overall ratios will start decreasing. Remember one thing, you are adding common element here. Okay. So if I take lesser ratio, that is A is less than B, and A is to B is the ratio. That means what is that happening here? So if I take, so what is that? A is less than B. 4 is to 5 I am taking. So 4 is to 5, what is that we got? 0.8. Now I'll be adding something here. So that is nothing but, so I'll be adding A plus X is to B plus X. I'll add 4 plus 1 is to 5 plus 1. That means what? The ratio, common element I'm adding. So 5 is to 6 I have. So now you take 6 and 5. 0 point. So how many times? 6 eights are 48. So and 2 remainder 0. 4's, this one, what is that? Sorry, 3's 18. Again 2, it goes 3, 3. So here we are getting 0.833. But here it is exactly 0.8. Why? You see 5 and 4, 0.58 is 40. Exact 0.80. But here you can see that 0.033 is increasing. For lesser ratio, from this what you should remember here, for lesser ratio, if you had some common element, both to antecedent and the consequent, the overall ratio increases than the original ratio. So that means what? A plus X is to B plus X will be, this entire ratio will be greater than A is to B. This is the second condition. Now the third condition that we have here is what? So if we have equal ratio, A is to B. So if A is equals to B, let us understand. So 2 is to 2 we have. What is the ratio? 1, isn't it? But if I had some common element, remember we are taking the state where we are adding the common element. So 2 plus 1 is to 2 plus 1, 3 is to 3, again we get the 1. So that means what? So for equal ratio, no matter what common elements you add to this one, antecedent and consequent, so we can say that it is equal. The ratio remains equal. The ratio won't this one. That means I can say A plus X is to B plus X in case of equal ratio will be equal to A is to B. That means the ratio will not change in this case. Okay. So in equal ratio, if you are adding some common element to antecedent and consequent, then the ratio will not change. The ratio remains same. That means what? Addition and deduction of, so some element for greater ratio and lesser ratio modifies the ratio will not remain same. Remember this. Whereas for equal ratio, the addition and the subtraction of common elements from antecedent and consequent remains same. This concept is very, very important. Now if I have a ratio of A is to B, if I multiply, the questions will be based on this. That is the reason I'm talking about this. So now if I have, what is that? A is to B is there. Now if I multiply some common element to it, let us see all the operation. If I multiply common element to this, whether the ratio remains same? Obviously the ratio remains same. Now why? A by X into B by X. X gets cancelled. We are ultimately left with A is to B, isn't it? So when a common element is multiplied, so with the given ratio, the ratio will not get affected. The ratio remains same on multiplication of common element to the entire ratio. Even when I divide A by X is to B by X. If I divide each of the component with some common element, okay, so what happens? It becomes A by X by B by X. This is the formation of, so ratio we get X by B. X gets cancelled and again we are getting A is to B. That means multiplication and division will not have any effect on the ratio. But multiplication and division of the same elements to both antecedent and consequent will not modify the ratio. Whereas addition and subtraction of the same elements to this one will be modified. Okay, these are the things that you need to remember here. Now, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is proportion. What do you mean by proportion? See, proportion, the comparison of two sets of ratio. That means when we say the two sets of ratios are equal, then we are talking about proportions. What we are talking about? Proportion. That is A is to B, C is to D. This is our proportion. Okay. You need to A is to B as C is to D. That is the comparison. That means indirectly how you will be writing A is to B is equals to C is to D. Okay, so this is the thing. So that means when we are comparing two or more ratios, when we are equalizing two or more ratios, then we can consider that as what? Our proportion. But in proportion, you can do the option, this one, modifications like this. A by B is equals to C by D we have. What is the modification that you can do is the first element of the second ratio, you can bring it back to the this ratio, and this you can take it back. That means these are called as the extremes. Why they are outside? So A and D are called extremes, B and C are called means, in terms or means we can call. So that means now one change you people can do while simplifying. Okay, see, whatever I'm saying, it is regards to your simplification only. So now don't think that, oh, ratio is given A is to B equal to B is C is to D. I don't know, I think we need to use this only. We can't do any modification. No, you can do modification. What is that modification? Means I can take C to the denominator, B to the thing. That means all the first term antecedents of the ratio take to one side, and the consequent you can take to this side. That means this applies only for two ratios, two consecutive ratio. So I can take this as what? A by C is equals to, what is that? B by D. And what is this called as? So this is called as alternando. What is it called as? The process is called as alternando. I guess many of you will be realizing this thing. And then, so we have one more thing. This is the original proportion we have. What we can do is we can interchange both. If you are interchanging this, even you can interchange. We can do that also. That means what? B by A is equals to D by C. This is called, we are inverting here. Okay, invertendo. What we are doing? We are doing the inverting. So that is why we call it as invertendo. Now, I can add also. What I can do here? So I can add now. So this is the original ratio, that proportion I have. I can add A plus B by B is equals to C plus D by D. This is what? Componendo. Mendo. Okay, we are adding. Remember, you can make the changes. That means you can add your antecedent to the consequent, and when you are adding here also you can add depending upon the this one problem. And then dividendo is what? A minus B by B is equals to C minus D by C. This is dividendo, subtracting. Now, combination of this also can happen. Componendo and dividendo also can happen. You people can do A plus B by A minus B will also be equal to C plus D by C minus D. This is what called as what? Alt componendo and dividendo. What we'll be calling it as? We'll be calling it as alternando, componendo, and dividendo. So these are the things that we basically have that we need to keep in mind. And one more thing, when we are talking about the ratio, this one, proportions, we can have like this: A by B is equals to C by D is equals to E by F is equals to, it can go like this. And in fact, so this ratios, whatever this ratios will be in its simplest form, it will also be equal to what? The sum of all the things here. That means the sum of this one, what is that? Your antecedent and the consequent. A plus C plus E plus goes like this, divided by B plus D plus F. So when you equate them, you see that the ratio of this will remain same as A by B. Okay, what is that? The ratio of this also remains in the same very manner. Okay, next is the variations. See, why I'm covering the all the concepts all together? Because if you don't understand the concepts, then you will not be able to do the thing. So now your variations. We have direct variations and indirect variations. See, when we say direct, that means what? As one item increases, the other item increases. As one item decreases, the other item decreases. Okay, so that means how we represent X is directly proportional to Y. How do we say direct proportion? As one increases, the other increases. As one decreases, the other decreases. Okay, so here what we say here, so that means in this case, so it is direct proportion. So, and this usually the direct proportion is given by what? X is proportion to Y. But when we compare, when we try to remove the constant of proportionality, what happens? X is equals to CY. So that means what? I'm removing the proportional. If I am removing the proportional, there should be some constant of proportionality, that is C. That means X by Y is equals to C. That means that constant X by constant is equals to X by Y. So that means how it is going, the quantity is X divided by Y. So this direct proportion, when we refer to many other things, how can we write? If any two things are directly proportional, we can write the different measurements of them will be like this: X1 by Y1 is equals to X2 by Y2 is equals to X3 by Y3 is equals to X4 by Y4. It goes on like this, and all these things are equal to one quantity here. Okay, this is direct. But see, direct everyone will do properly. But when it comes to indirect, they'll get confused. What is indirectly proportional? X is indirectly proportional to Y. This is the basic symbol of our proportion. So when anything is in indirect proportion, what we need to do, we need to take in this way. X is indirectly proportional to 1 by Y. That means X will be equal to C into 1 by Y. So that means, so you can take here X into Y is equals to C here. That means if we have many things in the same proportion, X1 into Y1 is equals to X2 into Y2 is equals to X3 into Y3. It goes on like this. Why this is important? See, in direct proportion, the things are varied in this way. In this one, what is that? It is varying in this way. Why it is important means, for example, you need to find out Y2. X1 is there, Y1 is there, X2 is there. So what you will be doing that in that case, in direct proportion, X1 by Y1 is equals to X2 by Y2. How do you find out? You need to get Y2. So Y2 will be equal to X2 into Y1 divided by X1. See, remember here, we are talking for Y2 in direct proportion. Y2 in direct proportion is given by Y. What? Y2 is equals to X2 into Y1 by X1. Okay. Whereas here, if you try to take Y2 only, I need Y2. in this, where inverse proportion is there. So y2 will be equal to what? X1 into y1 divided by x1 into y1 divided by x2. Look at the thing. They are varying here x1 into y1 by x2, but here it will become so x2 into y1 divided by x1. So that means what? In direct variation, the value will change. In this one, what is that? In your indirect variation also, the value tend to change. This is what basically our thing is. Now let us do few problems here. So I want everyone to answer these questions. Okay. Now I'll just say the sum of, I'm giving the questions, the sum of two numbers is 84. If two numbers are in the ratio are in the ratio 4:3. So find the two numbers. Find the two numbers. Tell me. Guys, tell me. It's very simple. We have two numbers. The sum of it is 84, but they are in the ratio 4:3. See, let the two numbers be x and y. So x plus y should be equal to 84. But according to this, what has happened? X is 4 times a, y is 3 times a. You may be wondering, why are we taking that a and a? We know that I cannot take that x is equals to 4 and y is equals to 3. Why? Because this is in the simplest form. This is completely in the simplest form. Some common element would have been this one taken off, okay, would have been divided. And that is the reason, if I want to know what is this x, I need to take 4 times some unknown here. That is 4a, and y will be equal to 3a. So just, and you can't take here different elements. Why? Because a is that common element that has been removed from the ratio. And therefore, 4a plus 3a is equals to 84. So that is 7a is equals to 84. A is equals to what? 84 by 7. So that is 1 times 2. So that is 12. So we have got a as 12. So what are the two numbers? X is equals to 4 times 12 and y is equals to 3 times 12. So that is 48 and 36. Okay, so we are getting what? The two elements are 48 and 36 that we have. Got it, guys? Now, one more thing that we have, it will be very nice if you give the answers. If 4a is equals to 3b, and this ratios and all, they are the combinations of problems. You guys get not just separately ratio problems, but this ratios, percentages and all. So they come with other problems also. So therefore, you need to be perfect on them. If 4a is equals to 7b, find 7a plus 9b is to 4a plus 5b. Tell me now. So 4a is equals to 3b. This is the comparison that we have. But you need to find the ratio. So 7a plus 7b so is to 4a plus 5b. What you will do? Simple. They have given this now. When they give some ideology, we need to make use of that ideology. Don't think that the ideology is not given. Ideology is just they have given. No, if they are giving something like this is true, that true thing you need to consider to solve the problem. So what they have given here, 4a is equals to 3b. Now I can do one thing, all variables I can take one side and all constants one side. So now what I'll do, I'll take b variable to this side and 4 constant to this side. So a by b is equals to 3 by 4. So that means here this implies a is equals to 3 what? 3 times x. I'm not taking a is equals to only 3. Remember, whenever from the ratio, if I am taking, I always take 3 times some variable I will be taking here. B is equals to what? 4 times x. Now we got the value of a and b here. So now guys, what you can do? You can simplify here. 7 times 3x plus, so 9 times 4x is 2. So what is that? 4 times 3x plus 5 times 4x. Okay. So now 21x plus, so 36x is to 12x plus 20x. So it becomes what? So 57x is to 12 plus 20, 32x. So x and x cancels, we get 57 is to 32 ratio. Okay, so this is one case. I'll give one more case where you will not be able to get the value. That means you could simplify here. Why? Because no variables there. So therefore you can just simplify and you can get this value. But we get some questions. I hope you guys understood here. But I'll be giving you one more question here. So they have given directly if a by b is equals to 4 by 5, then find out 2a square plus 3b by 7a plus 6b square. Now, looking at this problem only, I'll say that we will not get the ratio. We won't get the defined ratio, I'm going to say. You may be wondering why it is, ma'am. See, in the square form, it is there. A is square, B is square. So if I take A is equals to 4x and B is equals to 5x, this becomes x square, this becomes x square. That means in the terms we'll be getting some x square. But so when we get x square, so one constant will remain back in the past. This one question. See, here we had just plain x's here, so which got cancelled. But here in the equation x square, one x unknown value remains. If there is one unknown value, we can't equate, but I'll show what is that unknown value. So from this, I'll be taking a is equals to 4x and b is equals to 5x, which I regularly do, I am doing. But now then what I am doing, 2 times 4x whole square plus 3 times 5x. See what I did? So I took this one and I'm just substituting here. Okay. 4x plus 6 times. So 5b is what? 5x whole square. This becomes what? This will be 216. So 32x square plus 15x we are going to have, and then 28x plus 30x we have here. Okay. So what is common in these cases? You see that only x and x is common. So what I'll do, x I'll take out and I'll be getting 32x plus 15 divided by, so x is common, so 28x plus 30. X gets cancelled. See, our ratio is in this form. That means we have this 1x here, 1x here. Only when you know the x value, then you get that complete number. Since we can't get, okay, what is that we are seeing? So since we don't know what is the x value, therefore, for this particular thing, we cannot determine what we cannot determine the answer. Okay, so what it is, we cannot determine the answer or the ratio, perfect ratio. Yeah. Okay. So what is that? Why the thumbs down? Can I know? Can you let me know if you are able to find it out? Yes. So we have this x and x. So therefore, if they ask, so what is the ratio? If we have the options, so of not determined, so 30x square, boss. See, what is this? So 32x square. What is happening here? 2 times, what is this? 4. 4x whole square it is. 4x whole square is what? 16x square. 2 times 16 is what? 32, dear. And now here, what is that I'm doing? In the next step, x and x, I removed here common out. So that is the reason I'm left with 32x plus 15. X is removed common here. And in this case also, what is that? 25 it is. So here it is 25. So that's what. So 6 into 25 we get. So which is around 150. X square. So, but however, see, it is what is that we are unable to determine this. Okay. So therefore, x square, x is removed, x and x goes out. But my question is x and x is here. X and x is there because of which, so we are not able to find. Even if after this also we are left with 32x plus, so what is that? 28x plus 150 we have. So still we end up with what is that? X and x here. So x and x, what is this? So this is basically unknown term. We don't know. So we cannot get this, what is that ratio. So therefore we can say it cannot be determined. Okay. The next thing that we have here is next question. Let us take. Now, so you need to be aware of that, okay, whether we can determine if anywhere you have a squares, a cubes and all. So for the ratios, so there we cannot determine the ratio no matter what it is. Okay. The next question that we have here, the number of red balls and green balls in a bag are in the ratio 16:7. If there are 45 more red balls than green balls, find the number of green balls. In the bag. What is it happening? The number of red balls and green balls in a bag are in the ratio 16:7. That means red balls is to green balls will be what? In the ratio 16:7. And see one more thing here. Always this ratio will be in its simplest form. It won't have anything in common. Okay. So this is the ratio that we have. But what is that they have given? If there are 45 more red balls than green balls, that means, so when you compare red balls and green balls, how many red balls are more? 45 red balls are more here. Okay. So here from this equation, what we can take, red balls will be 16x, green balls will be how much? 7x. That means, so red balls will be 45 more than green balls. But how you can write that? So I can write like this, red balls minus green balls. What is the difference? 45 balls. Okay, between the number of balls, so 45 is different. We know how many red balls we have, we know how many green balls we have. So therefore 16x minus 7x is equals to 45, which is nothing but 16 minus 7, that is 9x is equals to 45, and x is equals to 45 by 9. So that is 5. X is 5. This is not the end of the answer. The number of green balls in the bag. Okay. So number of green balls, what? 7 into x, which is nothing but 7 into 5, 35. We basically have here. Okay. So 35 balls we have. So which one? Our red, green balls. Okay, our green balls will be 35. So how many red balls will be there? If at all they ask red balls, it is 35 plus 45. So that should be your answer there. Okay, so now next question. What least number, what least number must be added, must be added to each of a pair of, look at the question, to each of the pair of numbers that are in ratio, that are in ratio 7 is to 16, so that the ratio between them, the ratio between them becomes, the ratio between terms becomes 13 is to 22. What is this question? Give a try. See, what least number we need to add? What is that least number that we need to add? So, for the pair of numbers, okay, which are in the ratio 7 is to 16. That means we are not adding to the ratio. We are adding some least number to the numbers. Let us take two numbers to be x and y. To this, we need to add something, so that the numbers which were in this ratio, after adding some common element, becomes this ratio. Okay, so this, if x and y are the two numbers, according to this, very good, Imani. Okay, so 6 is that. Oh, everyone got this. Very good. I'll just show you what to do. Then you people can simplify. Those who did not get, you can simplify. So I can take x as 7a, 7a is the number, y as the initial numbers as this one. So now what? These are the initial numbers. For this, we are adding something. After adding that common element, what we need to get? We need to get the ratio of 13 is to this one. So this number. So what I'm doing? I'm adding some common element. So B to first term as well. So 16a plus b we are adding, because of which we are getting the ratio 13 by 22. So now what you people do? So you just cross multiply. When you cross multiply, you get 7a plus b times 22 is equals to 13 times 16a plus b. Okay? So this equation, when you simplify, you see that. So the term, so what is that? The number that is added, this implies the number that we are going to add will be 6 here. Okay. So now let me move on to next question. This is very important question. So kindly concentrate, try to give a this one try. So otherwise I'll only do this. This is very important. A number is divided. A number is divided into 4 parts. Into 4 parts. Okay. A number is divided into 4 parts. such that 4 times the first part, 3 times second part, 6 times the third part, and 8 times the fourth part are all equal. Okay. So in what ratio? Now you need to tell in what ratio is the number divided. Guys, give a try. A number is divided into 4 parts. Okay. What is that they are saying? A number is divided into this one, 4 parts. Let those parts be A, B, C, and D. And what they are trying to say here, 4 times the first part. Okay. So what is that they are saying? 4 times the first part, then 3 times the second part, 6 times the third part, and 8 times the fourth part are all equal. That means what? They're all equal. 4 times the first part is equal to 3 times the second part is equal to 6 times the third part equal to 8 times the fourth part. What? They're all equal. That means they all have some quantity E in common, isn't it? So what they have? So they have some quantity E as common, isn't it? Now let me express each of these terms A, B, C, and D in terms of E, so that we'll get the like term. So that means how I can take 4A is equals to E. That means A is equals to what? E by 4. In the same way, B is equals to what? E by 3. In the same way, this one C will be equal to what? E by 6. So in the same way, D will be equal to what? E by 8. So now I need to, if I want to take the comparison, okay, because they're asking how the number is divided into equal parts. Okay. So therefore, what if I want to, E is compared on different quantities here. If I want to equalize, what I need to do? Obviously, I need to take the LCM, and on the overall total, we need to take the things. That means when I take 4, 3, 6, and 8, so that means I can take here 2 2s, so 3, 3, and 4. So then 2 1s, 3, 3, and 2s. Okay. So and 2 1s, then 3s. So it becomes what? 2 2 8 3 is 24 is LCM. So let us convert each of them into 24. So that means what? 4, 6. Then this will be what? So 3 8s. And then this will become 4s. Then this will become 3s. This implies what? Each of them will be under equal quantity. 6E by 24 is 2. 8E by 24 is 2. 4E by 24 is 2. So 3E by 24. 24, 24, 24 gets cancelled. E gets cancelled. Therefore, the ratio that we have here is what? 6 is to 8 is to 4 is to 3. This is the ratio that we have. So what is the ratio that we have? 6 is to 8 is to 4 is to 3. Getting it? Understood? This is the ratio we have. Don't take, they will be in this ratio. What is that? 4 is to 3 is to, many times I have seen students doing this. because they had given this way. No, guys, it is not in that particular ratio. This is, you have to do this thing. You need to see when four or five things or six things, they say that it is equal. Try to take to an equal quantity, then convert those partitions into in terms of those equality things, and then what you people, you normalize them by using so LCM. Then ultimately what you will get those ratios there. Getting it? Yes. Yes, thank you. Now, any doubts here, guys? Any doubts you guys have? Please ask me with regards to ratio proportions. If you guys have any doubts, you can ask me. See, this proportions, basically when we deal with manpower and this one, what is that, distances and all, I'll be prominently showing you about that direct variations and indirect variations. Okay, so that means especially when we are doing workmen and this one problems, taps, cisterns, and all these things when we do, na, so will be this one. Yes, Aditi, which large part of the question? I'll just share the screen. You just let me know. Our board. Just 1 second. Okay. So you're right. So what we did here, let me take here. They said that I'll be doing here. So fourth, what is that they were saying? 4 times A is equal to 4 times first part is equals to 3 times second part is equals to 6 times third part is equals to 8 times this. Okay, we had this. So all these things will be equal to 1 ratio E. So by doing that, what we did, so we took the value of A. For how did we take this? 4A is equals to E. So therefore A will be equal to E by 4. By using the same method, I can find it for all the things A, B, and C. So it is E by 3. Then what we have, C also E by 6 will have. So and D also what will be having, E by 8 we have. Okay. So if this is the thing we have, so but all these things, see, E is compared on different thing. So we can't take the ratio here. Why? Because everything is different. So what we did, so to normalize, to compare the things on the same quantity, so what we'll do, whenever we want to compare the things on same quantity, what is that we need to do? We need to take the LCM. So LCM is what? 24. So if LCM is 24, I need to convert each of the denominator into 24. So what I'll do, how many times 4 will become 24? 6 times. But I cannot just multiply with 6. I need to multiply with this E also. Then B also, what? How many times I'll be getting? 8 times. Sorry, 3 times 8. So here also into 8. Then E by 6. How many times? 4. So here 4. And D is what? E by 8 into 3 and into 3. So now it becomes what? 6E by 24. 8E by 24, 4E by 24, and 3E by 24. That means on this one, this will become A is equals to this, B is equals to C, this, C is equals to this, and D is equals to this. This shows that on 24 parts, we have 6C. On 24 parts, B has 8E, and on 24 parts, C has 4E, and on 24 parts, so D has 3E. So that means what? I can take that the ratio is 6E to 8E is to 4E to 3E. Because it is ratio, we take out all the common elements. So we are left with what? So 6 is to 8 is to 4 is to 3. That means A is to B is to C is to D is in the ratio 6 is to 8 is to 4 is to 3. Okay. So got this thing, Aditi? Okay. Right. Got it, Aditi? Okay, great, guys. Okay, then. Any other doubts you people have? Okay. Bye then. We'll see you tomorrow for more. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Also, Surya, I will get back to you tomorrow and I'll see why the handouts are not working. Any other doubts related to the Ubergrad website, you may ask now. Thank you.